Barred Wrestling Radio here, NHBWR. I guess this is our debut of our podcast. We're kind of repackaging ourselves. I'm here with my co-hosts as always, Brandon.
Hey, yo.
And Phil right
Hello.
here, No Cell Phil. Or if you want to follow him at Twitter, at VanDanGoldust.
Yeah.
Basically, what we are going to do, guys, is we're done with the Raw review, the Smackdown review.
Slam City review.
We did a review for Slam City, because that's just fucking horrendous. But anyways, we're done with all that crap. We're just going to continue and do podcasts from now on, because that seems to be the in thing to do. You have Jericho's podcast. We had Colt Cabana's podcast. Everything's just booming right now. Austin's. So you know what? We're going to do a podcast. No one wants to hear reviews anymore, right? They watch the show. Everyone, it's all about the podcast right now.
This is the attitude era of NHBWR.
This is the reality era.
The reality era of NHBWR, and your guys are going to listen. So... You know what? Be sure to follow us on Twitter and any of our social media sites. We'll put it in the link below. And we're just going to continue with these podcasts. So basically what we're going to do now to start off the show is we have our own kind of Slammy Awards to go through. So our NHBWR Slammies, we have pretty much almost some of the same categories as WWE, and we have our own creative categories in our nominees / winners.
We do?
We do.
Oh.
Hello. Good morning. Let's go. Hello. Good morning. Hello. Good morning. Know you've been waiting.
All right, so we're going to jump right into the first award with the NHBWR Rookie of the Year. And our nominees are, we have Rusev as the first nominee. Phil, do you want to read us the second one?
I will try to read your writing. It appears to be Paige.
Paige is the second nominee, and our third nominee, Brandon, is...
It looks like it's crossed out.
It is crossed out. I have Paige, Rusev, and who did I write here?
It looks like it's
Sorry,
Rusev
boys.
crossed out.
It is Rusev crossed out.
So we have Rusev twice.
Oh, it's Adam Rose.
Adam Rose.
How did I not think of Adam Rose?
Oh, great.
Because
Adam
he's
Rose.
not the winner, that's why.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just jump into the winner. Phil, do you want to read the winner?
The grand winner for Rookie of the Year is Paige, even though I disagree with that, but that's how we do.
How do you disagree
No
with Paige?
Cell Phil already.
Hang on, she's what? She's won the Divas title twice already, and she's only been with the company. She hadn't been in the company with that long. But she's been up on Raw for only half a year.
Her debut match, she won the
thing.
Divas title.
Drew McIntyre won an IC title. Would you say he's like a great superstar now? No, you didn't. Paige won a Divas title twice. That doesn't mean anything.
Paige is more relevant than Drew McIntyre was.
She can't execute her finisher properly, and I can't think of a good match that she's had, and she sucks on the mic. That's all I have to say about Paige.
I think her matches with AJ Lee were pretty damn good.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And I mean, she held the NXT women's title and the Divas title at the same time.
Her and Rusev, I'll have to go with Rusev, and by Rusev I mean Lana.
Okay, well, I'll somewhat agree with that, but we're still going with Paige as the winner for that one.
Lana can win the award of winning the award of going to my bedroom.
Oh.
That's what she can win.
Lana's ass isn't PG. Anyway, moving on. So our second award of the night will go to our future endeavored of the year. If you don't know what that means, our boy John Laurinaitis, he always used to fire people, and he'd say, good luck in your future endeavors. So this is our basically fired or whatever release person of the year. Our nominees are obviously CM Punk, Kyle's boy CM Punk. Then number 2 is obviously my boy Alberto Del Rio, and number 3 is Phil's boy Justin Roberts.
The legend, Justin Roberts.
Oh wait, are we voting for who we're happy is gone, or who we're sad is gone,
No,
or who's the best out of these people?
Yeah. And
well, who made the biggest impact?
And obviously,
I wonder.
And obviously the winner is CM Punk here.
Yeah, considering that CM Punk, because CM Punk's the most talk right now, because him going on Colt Cabana's podcast and basically he's saying he's not dissing WWE, but in a way he was dissing WWE.
Yep.
Alberto Del Rio didn't. He had that little incident where he said people were being racist backstage, but then he shut his mouth up, went to another company. Right now, I think he's in ROH. He was in Lucha Underground for a bit.
He's doing a few promotions here and there. He did.
Wait, wasn't it AAA?
AAA. I'm sorry.
He did that hardcore wrestling event in Philly a couple months ago.
Yeah. So and I heard they're lining him up for a title shot in Ring of Honor. Ooh. So Del Rio's out doing his own thing. He's still wrestling and he's staying out of the picture. What CM Punk's doing now is he's stirring the pot. Like now he signs with UFC, and that's just a whole nother level of shit.
Yeah.
He's adding to the fire. So, future endeavor of the year is definitely CM Punk.
Yep.
Leaves the company without saying a fucking word, for one. We all knew Del Rio was on his way out.
Not for 10 months, there was...
yeah, not for 10. He actually went on Colt Cabana's podcast and spilled the beans. But
we all knew Del Rio was going to leave. Basically, just gave him a bigger reason to just quit the day of.
But the stuff that CM Punk came out with was pretty interesting too. When he broke out of that, which we'll get to later on in the show. Yeah. But we'll jump into the next category is the gimmick / repackage of the year. Our nominees are Stardust / Cody Rhodes, whatever you guys want to call him nowadays. I sometimes still call him Cody Rhodes.
Oh yeah,
Dashing Cody Rhodes.
Dashing Cody Rhodes. Second nominee we have is the New Day, the freshly new repackaged. They were supposed to be, a Nation of Domination thing going on. They kind of scrapped that out of the door, and this New Day gimmick, whatever, man. I guess they're gonna roll with it. I mean, they've already got jobbed already, and they're a fucking new tag team. And their third one, which I think is the best nomination, Mizdow, which has gone over the crowd so well, more than I thought when I first seen it. I thought that was just gonna be bad, and it was gonna be done after a week. But it's gotten over so good.
All the crap they throw at Damien Sandow, and he just turns it to gold. He knows how to turn shit into gold.
Apparently, yeah.
It seems like people really tune in to see Mizdow every week. We were talking to a buddy of ours today that's a casual wrestling fan, and he said he doesn't even like watching wrestling except when he turns on and sees Mizdow, he likes it. So he's obviously gaining a lot of respect from the crowd because he's so brilliant.
And on to that, the winner of the gimmick / repackage of the year is Mizdow, which we all voted Mizdow. I'm sure everyone listening is going to vote Mizdow because it's been probably the repackage of the year of the last couple of years, I would say, because it's getting over so well. This tag team thing they're doing with the tag titles is doing so well too, like with Mizdow with the prop titles and Miz carrying both the real titles, and it's just,
and the crowd booing the Miz and then cheering Mizdow.
It's something WWE needs to do. I like how they're bringing back this. They used to do this old kind of product, not this other product, I think, which is working and that they've been doing for trying to force us down our throats every year.
I feel like they tried to do this before with Matt Hardy and Shannon Moore, and this has just been like 10 times better than that was ever. So
that's true. And all right, we're moving on to our next category, which is Sign of the Year.
So Phil, you do the honors for this
one.
Okay, well here's the thing. I'm the Sign Masters guy, I guess, but I don't actually memorize them or anything for that matter. Where is Signs of the Year on this piece of paper?
Right here, Phil.
All right, Sign of the Year. We've got
the staph infection.
Staph infection.
I apologize in my writing.
I thought it said Steph because Steph Kids is my kid.
The sign is, can you check my staph infection?
Which, if anyone see it on Raw, it was literally
for about 5 seconds.
5 seconds, and then 20 seconds later they took it out. I'm glad WWE cut on to that. I'm surprised it lasted even 5 seconds. You'd think they checked that section before they showed the camera over there. For you guys that don't know, you can Google it because it's all over Google. Anything you search, it's all over Google. I'll read the second nominee. I apologize. My writing was pretty bad. I wasn't sure we were reading off this piece of paper. Yeah. But second nominee was Eat, Sleep, Disappear, Repeat.
Or Eat, Sleep, Bury, Repeat.
Or Eat, Sleep, Bury. We've seen both. Again, in titles to Brock Lesnar, and we'll get into that later on as well. And the third nominee is If Cena Wins, We Wyatt.
That's a good one.
It is a good one. And the winner is obviously the staph infection one because of what CM Punk said during the Colt Cabana interview. If you didn't go listen to it, it was pretty funny. I think that's Sign of the Year. We couldn't really remember any. If you guys have any, leave it in your comments section below, and we'll make note of it on the next video. We'll just jump into the next category, I guess, then. We have Return/Debuts of the Year.
So our nominees are... And, Phil doesn't agree with these either. No sell, Phil. What else is new? But we've got The Rock returning to Brooklyn on Rusev and Lana. Great segment. Probably one of my favorite promos of the... Or not promos, but in-ring segments of the year. Then we've got the Blutista/Batista returning at Royal Rumble. It was kind of... The return probably would have been better if it wouldn't have been blown by a Las Vegas... promotion company that basically told everybody that he was coming back before WWE had told anybody. So it kind of ruined that, but it was still a return of the year because he hasn't been there in 3 years? 4 years?
He quit!
He quit, then he quit again. And then, so our third nominee would obviously be Sting. It's not really a return, but it's a debut.
Yep.
And, what better way to do it at Survivor Series to put the Authority out of power?
Yep. And we've decided we'd somewhat talk in controversial talking by Phil, but we did decide on Sting being the winner. Sting actually stepping foot for the first time ever in a WWE ring. I don't think anyone could have predicted that to ever happen until he actually signed with the company this year. He finally stepped into a ring and then ended the Authority for good, which they couldn't have done a better job to make Sting's debut impactful.
Hold up. It's not just Sting, it's the Vigilante Sting.
Yeah, apparently
don't
now he's
forget
being
that.
called the Vigilante Sting.
Phil, I know you had a strong opinion on this.
Well, here's the thing. I really didn't think he would debut, and he did, and it's like, it just feels way too late, and then, where is he now? Like, we haven't heard, like, we hear from him, but, like, nothing since...
We don't really hear from him. It's basically just Seth Rollins talking shit.
But you know what? It's his contract. I read in a couple sources that his contract it's a Brock Lesnar style contract.
Oh, great! Yeah,
he has certain appearances.
Those are fun.
Yeah. This is going to be a contract that's going to be carried out through the company now. And it's going to be referred to as the Brock Lesnar contract, which is fucking unfortunate. Because as soon as WrestleMania 31 comes, I really hope Brock Lesnar does not re-sign with the company. He gets his fucking ass out of here, because how do you win the WWE title and not fucking come and defend it and show up 3 pay-per-views later to defend it?
I mean, I know The Rock was champion and he wasn't there every week, but he was there at least every other week.
Yeah, he was there enough times more than Brock Lesnar was.
Yeah.
Like, how could you have WWE Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-views without the main title? You combine both fucking titles. This is something where you should have combined both titles, and at least one title will still be relevant while Brock Lesnar's out, whacking off somewhere or losing weight for UFC, because he's just screwing WWE and stealing your money, Vince. He's being a little douchebag.
So we'll talk about that more in depth a little later. So now we're gonna go on to our match of the year. So we've got about 4 nominees for this one. We've got Evolution versus The Shield Part 2. I think everybody can agree that was an unreal match.
Yep, at Payback this year.
Yep. And then Daniel Bryan versus Triple H at WrestleMania to kick off WrestleMania.
Yep, epic match.
Yep. Then our third nominee was the Wyatts versus the Shield.
Yep, Elimination Chamber. That was the last hoorah for that feud.
Yep. And then Sami Zayn versus Adrian Neville.
Which, if anyone remembers, is on NXT TakeOver.
Mm-hmm. And then our winner was the Shield versus the Wyatts, was Royal Rumble.
Elimination Chamber was the last hoorah, which was actually a pretty good match, from what I recall. I think Phil remembers most of that match more than I do.
Basically, just typical Shield spots and the Wyatts brawling. If you guys remember, this is Ambrose disappeared in the middle of this match, and we started getting a dissension among the Shield at this point. Wyatts ended up winning. Just a really good match, probably my most memorable match. It's unfortunate that Daniel Bryan was injured most of the year, that we'd probably have way more nominees if he wasn't.
Yeah, that's true. He always puts on a good match.
And as far as technically good matches, ring mat, technical prowess, obviously NXT is doing really well with guys like Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville. So you can always expect good things from NXT.
Good stuff.
Moving on to good things, we're going to move on to...
Well, the worst match of the year.
Worst match of the year.
Although some of these are actually good matches, I don't know.
So Phil likes Slam City too. That's something.
He's got a Slam City shirt on right now. You can't see it.
So we've got...
Is there even Slam City merch?
Phil, if there was, we know you'd have it. So now our 3 worst matches of the year candidates. We're going to start off with the WLC match.
Which was actually a good match.
No, it wasn't. It was garbage.
Which was between Hornswoggle and El Torito. Yep. This was just one of the stupidest matches.
If you want to create controversy, why would you make a match for midgets and call it WLC? That's exactly like calling, a small person a midget.
Yep.
That is degrading. A WLC. Really? You couldn't just call it normal TLC and just had it Hornswoggle versus El Torito?
Yep.
Why'd you have to call it WLC?
And it
ended up being fucking terrible. That was garbage.
Moving on to number 2, we've got Rusev versus the Big Slow.
Oh my god.
I don't even remember what the hell this match was.
This match was terrible. I remember it.
It was just basically Rusev just... having Big Show on the ground the whole time.
It was dry.
It was terrible.
It ended up being Rusev squashing Big Show. How does Rusev squash Big Show? I understand Rusev squashing, like a new up-and-coming person or someone just that always gets squashed, like Zack Ryder. But Big Show, really? They did that poorly done.
Basically, they ended that feud to start the Mark Henry Big Show feud, which, whatever. Then moving on to the third one was Big Show versus Big Show versus Roman Reigns.
No,
Man, Big Show
versus
sucks this
Lesnar.
year.
Oh,
Really.
Big
At
Show
the
versus
Royal Rumble.
Lesnar. Sorry,
Sorry,
I
yeah,
saw our.
that's our.
No, that was actually a bad match.
Yeah, that was Big Show again getting canned. Like, how do you make that a? How do you make that a match and just have Brock Lesnar beat the shit out of Big
I
Show?
could talk about this, but this will just be another Brock Lesnar rant, which I think we're going to do later on.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think the reason they did this was to make Brock Lesnar just look unbelievably strong.
Yep. And in that, we outvoted Phil and picked the WLC match as worst match of the year.
This might have been the
do
worst
you guys
match.
even remember this
I
match?
remember
Yes,
Did you
this
guys
match.
watch it?
It
we
was
watched
the-
it. I've rewatched it actually.
It was the worst match I've ever seen in my life, and that is a fact.
It was
Okay,
bad.
so like,
It was just so stupid. And 3MB and Los Matadores were on the side, and it was just...
You know what? I'm gonna make a highlight DVD for you, Phil. It's gonna be my highlight matches, and it's just gonna be for you. And I'm gonna put the first one WLC.
Yep.
Is that great?
And
Whatever.
basically,
I'll put a star on it,
JBL just acting stupid on commentary, just as usual.
His puns everywhere. It was just it was terrible.
Michael Cole didn't even commentate the match; he had his head down the whole time.
Anyways, we'll move on to it. We'll add these two categories together. I don't even know what we'll separate them. Best feud of the year. We have Daniel Bryan versus The Authority, which everyone could have expected that nomination because that took up most of the year. We have number 2. We have Evolution versus The Shield feud. And the third one, we have John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, the recently WWE World Heavyweight title match feud.
Daniel Bryan versus Kane was pretty shitty too.
That was pretty bad.
That
but
goddamn
that's under
forklift
worst
match.
That was
Extreme
under
rules.
Yeah, that's under worst feuds.
No, it only lasted
we're
a
doing
month.
best
Maybe it's
feuds
not a
right now.
feud.
So.
Phil.
Anyways, best feud we voted together was Daniel Bryan versus The Authority, which was great. Daniel Bryan overcoming everything, getting his match at WrestleMania against Triple H, winning
Having to
that
fight 2 matches.
2 matches in one WrestleMania, going through that unreal triple threat match in the main event and making Batista tap out for the World Heavyweight Championship, finally winning it. But then,
Just a
unfortunately,
relentless year by Daniel Bryan.
yeah, just insane. And then too bad he couldn't be a part of the Authority breaking up.
Because this was his year.
Yeah, this was definitely his year, and we'll get on to what happened later on in the show. We'll get to the other half of this category, worst feuds of the year.
Daniel Bryan versus Kane was actually pretty shitty.
That can be a side.
Good timing.
We'll add that note in, I guess. But the nominees are pretty bad. I mean,
Okay, so first of all,
I feel bad for him reading these right now.
Kyle refused to read it. So we've got 3MB versus Los Matadores. Los Matadores probably the worst tag team I've ever seen.
How do you even call that a feud?
And it was basically 2.5 MB half the time because it was Hornswoggle and El Torito in there.
That's a little racist.
And they had it the match about 800 times on SmackDown. It was just terrible.
Yeah.
And then our second one, moving on to Fandango versus Santino, which we ranted
even
about
worse.
in our old videos back in the day.
I remember the Cobra and the Emma's Cobra. Oh, fuck.
We saw this match about literally 4 Raws.
That
in a
was the
row.
toilet break of every Raw I had to watch.
And then our third one was barely a feud, but that's why it makes us list.
Thank God these guys are both gone.
So we've got Brodus Clay versus Sweet Tea / Tensai.
/ Jason Alberts now on NXT for you guys watching NXT. Is that an atrocious guy? Like that, I
The
thank
whole
God.
Funkasaurus
I'm
crap is
thankful
over.
like these guys are all gone. I don't have to see this crap anymore. this shit that WWE calls like money. It's not money. It's fucking garbage.
So our winner was 3MB versus Los Matadores.
Yeah, they even call them winners.
Well, here's the thing. That was a comedy match. That wasn't even supposed to be taken seriously. And by giving it worst feud of the
Then
year,
don't fucking
it
put it on
means you guys
TV.
are taking it seriously.
That's why they should bring back Slam City and put it on, or not Slam City. They should bring back Saturday Morning Slam and put it on there.
No, they can't. McFoley was a GM.
Yeah.
How do you have a GM for a minor show?
That's not even a mind. That wasn't even know what the hell that was. Was it on NBC? Was it on NBC Kids? Like the cartoon?
CW or some crap.
I have no clue. I used to watch Metal, and that was way better.
But we'll get to our final award of the, I guess, award show, and is Superstar of the Year. And for this one, there's so many superstars that have had a good year this year. We separated it, and we are each going to pick our winner and say reason why behind it. My Superstar of the Year is Dean Ambrose. I think after the Shield breaking up, it was definitely Ambrose's time for a run. even though it's only helped by Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan getting injured, but the way they've pushed Ambrose since then is amazing.
And he's taken it. He's taken it and
he's grabbed those brass rings of Vince McMahon and he's just run with them. And he's getting over so well with the crowd. And I mean, look at it, the merch that's selling quickly now. It's just Dean Ambrose sells the top merch on WWE Shop right now.
Yeah, his zip-up hoodie, right? Yeah, that was number one.
It's still currently number one, the most bought item on WWE Shop.
Dean Unstable Ambrose.
Every time he comes out to a massive pop. And just the momentum with this guy behind him right now, it's just, you can expect bigger things. I know they want to get Roman Reigns back in and give him his shot because it's supposed to be his year as well. But I have a feeling after that, it's going to be Ambrose. Ambrose is going to be one of the next top guys in the company.
Who did I pick? I picked Rollins, I think. Yeah. Rollins, another Shield member, just goes to show how much the Shield was talented. Basically, Rollins, Money in the Bank winner. Improved leaps and bounds on the mic since his time in Ring of Honor. I don't know. He's got
basically the Authority's little baby boy.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Like he almost handpicked by Triple H. I mean, he's got a cool new ring attire since breaking up the Shield. In my opinion, he's probably the best in the ring out of all the Shield members. Yeah, and like I said before, really good on the mic.
He didn't sell out. He bought in.
Didn't sell out. He bought in, and he bought into that Money in the Bank, and he's a future world champ, just from having that golden briefcase around all the time.
Good nominee. On to mine. Not that I exactly agree with the superstar. I like him, but I'm gonna have to go with Brock Lesnar, just for the fact of him breaking the Undertaker's undefeated streak of WrestleMania, and then basically having the most lopsided championship victory in probably WWE history in the same year.
30
and against John Cena too.
And against
30 German suplexes. Like, who gets suplexed 30 freaking times in the same match?
It was up there.
You can't get a much higher momentum than those two matches. So just for that fact, I'm going with Brock Lesnar. Like we all say, we wish he would be around a lot more because it is unfair to all of the hardcore fans that deserve a champion and deserve somebody that was relevant.
He even got to promote the new belt and then just disappears again. Like they got a new belt with the new logo and then he's gone again. And he comes back, gets his new T-shirt, more money. Like, what the fuck? But you know what? That's your opinion. That's your superstar of the year.
Like I said, I don't exactly agree with what he's done. But I mean, for those two matches alone, I basically have to give him the award.
And guys, that is our NHBWR awards. And if you want to give us your opinions and your thoughts on what category should have been put in there and your winners you should have thought, go ahead, feel free and leave the comment down below.
Hello. Good morning.
Let's go, let's rock.
Hello.
Come on.
Good morning. Hello. Good morning. Know you've been waiting.
So now we're going to get into like the second part of our podcast, which we're done the awards now. We're going to get into the just general discussion, which we plan on doing with this channel now. Break it out, guys. I mean, WWE now's current product. It sucks. I mean,
I like it.
It's the WWE, like Raw and Smackdown. It sucks.
SmackDown definitely sucks.
How does it suck? You're still watching it every week. That means you like it.
Yeah, because I want to see if it gets better. How do you know if it's going to get better if you don't watch it every week?
I'm sorry, Phil. I don't watch SmackDown. Let's get that straight.
You can read the reviews or
Yeah,
something.
I read. Okay, let's get that forward. We read SmackDown. We watch Raw. Who watches SmackDown?
And if you read SmackDown, you'll just find out that it was a Raw recap anyway.
Exactly, or it's a match they wanted to do on Raw, but they didn't. They just put it on SmackDown. You're like, oh, well,
we've been saying this for years. They gotta bring SmackDown more relevant.
They gotta bring the brands back. The two brands, two titles on each. That's everyone enjoyed that.
I didn't.
Why?
I liked all the superstars and all the shows.
Why? Do explain.
But that made SmackDown relevant, and it made something better than Raw at some points.
Back when 2006 SmackDown. That was an unreal roster. Back then, 2006 Raw, unreal roster. Both shows were relevant in their own ways. Right. And they had remember the bragging rights pay-per-views and everything like that? That was sick.
That only happened 2 years in a row, and they sucked.
Yeah, they did suck. But still, like, when one superstar would appear on the other show, it'd be a big thing. Like, why is this SmackDown guy on Raw? Right?
Yeah.
So, now why do they make it seem like it's still that way?
They are moving SmackDown in 2015 to Thursdays.
I'm hoping they'll do something like that. Maybe they'll make it 3 hours. Who knows?
I think they should just make SmackDown
The current
live.
product is not good, and I feel like, and
Doesn't
I
help that
think
it's on Friday night. Friday night's no good.
Well, that's what we said. They're moving it in 2015.
yeah.
Oh, they
that's
are.
true.
Okay.
Yep.
They did show it live on Tuesday this week, though. It was live on Tuesday.
I think
for
it should
their
be
Super
live every
SmackDown.
week. I think that makes it better for people if it's live.
I don't understand. I don't understand that too. Why do you have to have SmackDown taped? And now that they took NXT off Canadian television because of the network, I can't even watch freaking NXT on TV anymore. Which is, again, into what I'm saying, NXT is the better product right now. And I feel like WWE, and I think everyone else can see it, that they're battling with NXT, which is their own brand. But the product they release on NXT, they control that product. Why isn't that same product being shown on Raw, their main flagship show?
And when guys get called up to the main roster, they're limited in what they can do. They can't do the stuff they used to do on NXT.
Yeah, the shit they did in NXT was sick. Their gimmick, their style of wrestling. As soon as they break up to the main roster, which is supposed to be their big break, WWE just says, no, you're not doing any of that shit. You're going to do this gay crap, and you're going to go out there and play to the fucking 10-year-old kids.
And they just get irrelevant.
Yeah, and then they shit the bed and you never hear about them again. Example number one, NXT wasn't around back then, but Drew McIntyre. Look what happened to him. He was supposed to be an actual future top superstar.
Vince McMahon endorsed him, yeah.
And then look where he ended up. He ended up a fucking member of 3MB, and they shit the bed, broke up, and you haven't heard Drew McIntyre got released.
Even Tyson Kidd has been doing unreal matches on NXT for the last year after he came back from injury.
And now he's back in WWE. Look what he's doing. He's doing fucking stupid gimmick matches.
He's walking out with beaters on.
Yeah, with Natalia, and he's doing these stupid gimmick matches, and they're shit. You don't see the same moves and same style of wrestling that you see in NXT. Basically, NXT is like watching independent wrestling on WWE TV. It's unreal. And the shit they have on there. I'm wondering if it's different creators doing the show than WWE Raw and SmackDown's creators, because if they are, they need to bring those guys up to the fucking flagship show and make that better right now. Because right now, these last couple weeks, I've been watching more NXT than anything else. I've rewatched NXT Revolution 4 times since it's been shown.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone's praising NXT, but this is that's because they recently had one good show. I mean, no one was really talking about Arrival or the 2
I've
or 3
rewatched some of
takeovers
those. Those pay-per-views are still good. And yeah, okay, it's getting better now, but it still was good back in those pay-per-views. It might have not have been exceeding WWE Raw and SmackDown because at the time it was during that whole Authority, Daniel Bryan, John Cena, stuff that was actually relevant in WWE. Because right now, everything, now that Authority's gone, it's kind of what Triple H said. It's getting bland now.
And NXT's not really promoted, and it's not really talked about that much. Through.
No, it's not. They don't promote.
Yeah,
they don't promote saying, "Oh, watch NXT on the WWE Network this Thursday night." You never hear anything about NXT unless there's an NXT superstar on the show. If Paige is having a match, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, remember when this and Paige was in NXT this?" That's it. You never hear about NXT anything else. Meanwhile, it's getting way better talk, and it can't get better viewership ratings, obviously.
People are chanting NXT on Raw.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's true. People are actually chanting NXT on Raw, and you won't hear it on SmackDown because they edit that shit, which is stupid. But people love the product of NXT. Even if you just watch an episode of NXT, listen to the crowd. The shit they chant is insane. It's way better than what you hear on Raw because it sucks because it's a small arena and you hear what the actual fans say, other than a Raw show, because it's 80% kids. Kids are saying "Let's go see that" and chanting, for Sheamus and all the the kids superstars. But I'm just saying NXT right now is 10 times better than their flagship show, which is pretty sad.
Wrestling wise, I agree with that.
Yes, wrestling wise, it's insane. Look at the debut of Kevin Steen, or Kevin Owens as he's now called. Unreal. Okay. Debuts at Revolution, has an unreal match with CJ Parker, and then heel turns at the end of the show. Just the whole crowd was so shocked. It was like Undertaker losing the streak. It was insane. No one saw Kevin Steen starting out as a heel. Everyone thought he was just going to play a face, because when he first made his debut against Parker earlier in the show, he was a face. The Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville last match, that was an insane freaking match. The moves they pulled off in that match were unreal. The crowd loved it. They chanted "This is awesome" almost every 2 minutes.
And even the guys on the WWE roster that go down there do better. Look at Sin Cara now.
Yeah. he's doing way better than what he did in WWE. Less botching. As we
Curtis Axel's been doing matches down there as well.
The guy is different. The guy behind the mask is a different person.
No, it's Hunikara.
It's still Hunikara.
It was still the same guy working WWE getting squashed.
Well, even before he went back to NXT, he was botching less because it wasn't the original one.
He was still botching, Phil, and it was still
you
terrible.
gotta watch it. It's way better. And okay, what was I talking about? Okay, the Neville and Zhang match, that was insane. Same as finally getting that payoff and winning the NXT title belt. Just that whole pay-per-view was insane. And you know what, NXT, I'm going to continue watching NXT until WWE, I'm going to continue watching Raw, obviously, too. But I'm hoping that NXT, the style that they're doing right now, moves on. And I hope WWE Raw gets, somewhat better. Like, to continue their products. I don't mind half the product that they show on TV.
I think it's 3 hours.
You know what? It could be the 3 hours.
The filling of the 3 hours.
They got to do something. I mean, what are they going to do on Raw this Monday, which is fucking atrocious with this whole Hogan shit. It's just gap fillers that they have to fill for that big 3-hour slot.
SmackDown has no excuse.
No, they don't. They have only 2 hours to do that crap, and they could make it 10 times better. Yeah. I mean, you can, what you can do? You can have the Raw, just do WWE Raw, and on SmackDown you can have it half SmackDown. Maybe you can put 1 or 2 NXT matches in there too. And show it on SmackDown to show the SmackDown crowd. Get the people loving NXT. You know what that does, Vince? That gets the people who watched SmackDown watch an NXT product on SmackDown. Hey, be like, hey, that product's pretty good. Let me go watch NXT on the network. There you go. I just made you more $9.99 sales right there.
It helps both shows.
There you go. And just look at their talent they have on there. Like Kevin Owens, as I mentioned before. Kenta's over there now. Prince Devitt. Prince Devitt's entrance at Revolution, holy shit. They're chanting holy shit during his entrance. Because it was unreal. He had the whole face paint going on. Charlotte's unreal diva. Bayley's turned out to be a really good diva too. They have more divas on the way. I don't really remember some of their names because I'm just freshly watching NXT on a daily basis now. CJ Parker's good. Tyler Breeze, The Ascension, Adrian Neville. Oh my god, man. NXT gives out such a good product. It needs to be, WWE needs to do something, or else, it's just going to keep being bland, and I'm going to keep watching NXT, and it's not just going to be me, it's going to be more and more people as the year progresses.
You know why it's good? Because William Regal's a GM. That's what's best for business.
Because Regal's a GM, that's probably it. Anyway. Let's move on. Biggest story of the year. It's going to be for probably a while now, because every time he's done interviews now, they keep bringing up wrestling, and whether he's going to come back at is CM Punk. Insane. He finally comes out on Cole Cabana's podcast, talks about everything, just drops everything on the table, says why he left, actually says some pretty crazy shit about what goes on behind closed doors, and what he said is insane. Whether it's true, whether it's all true or not, my God, the whole staph infection thing was pretty crazy. I mean, WWE, and it's kind of true. I believe that what he said about Vince losing touch with his wrestlers is true. And the whole brass rings thing, it looks all legit. The people that don't look motivated and don't want to do anything, don't grab those brass rings, they just get released. They get squashed all the time, and then you never hear about them again.
It's basically whatever Vince McMahon wants and who he wants to push at that certain time. If he thinks a guy isn't good enough, but the fans do, doesn't matter. It's always Vince's decision.
Punk could have stayed. Punk could have kept going, but what he said was they wore him out backstage. They didn't take care of him.
Shit they did to him with Triple H and the Randy Orton 12 rounds.
Yeah, I guess 12 rounds. CM Punk was supposed to be the original star of 12 rounds
instead of Randy Orton,
and then he hardly calls CM Punk about it, and then he finds out from social media that they changed it to Randy Orton, and he finally called and said, "Oh yeah, we're actually giving it to Randy Orton."
It'd be nice if you could call him.
Yeah, honestly. And then I found out, I listened to the whole podcast. There's also the incident, if you listen to it, where it was the WrestleCon thing in Chicago, where he was supposed to show up to this WrestleCon thing for they're going to pay him $20,000, okay, to show up, sign some autographs, do all that stuff with with comic books that CM Punk loves. So Punk's sitting at home on his chair. He decides to go on Twitter. What does he see on WrestleCon's Twitter account? He sees that they tweeted, "Come meet Daniel Bryan," not CM Punk's name. Punk's going, "What the fuck?" Right? So he calls WWE up and goes, "Oh yeah, we replaced you with Punk. We need you on our Mexico tour. We're doing rough in Mexico, so we need something to get boosted." So Punk's like,
You better be paying me the
you better
same
be
money.
paying me the same money. He's like, all right, yeah, you're gonna wrestle 4 matches. Punk doesn't even know what matches he just got into. Goes to wrestle those 4 matches. They end up being 4 hardcore matches in a row.
3-on-1 against the Shield.
Yeah, and he gets fucking obliterated. You know what they paid him for each match? $4,000.
Total.
Or for total. Sorry, total for all 4 matches. They paid him $4,000.
He was supposed to make $10,000 at that Comic-Con.
He's supposed to make $20,000
Oh,
just for that event at that Comic-Con, and he ended up wrestling for 4 or 5 matches for only $4,000. WWE just fucked him in the ass there. They bent them over and fucked him in the ass. Like, the shit you have, if you haven't listened to that podcast yet, you have to listen to it. I was pretty impressed with it, but now, like, it's getting a little stirry. Him now signing with the UFC, I don't think that was that great of an idea. With Punk, yeah, Punk has some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background, but he's created so much heat right now that it's not going to look good in the end.
And he's always saying, oh, I don't want to stir the pot. Well, you already did.
You just stirred the pot by signing with the UFC. Like, Punk, you're my boy, but that was a little bit too much. Anyways, if that's the CM Punk situation this year, it's a big year for that. We'll jump into something else here, which is basically it took up most of this whole year from the beginning of 2014 to the end. The injuries that played to the top superstars and the top pushes that are supposed to go this year. That's Wade Barrett, Roman Reigns, and Daniel Bryan.
And going back to our awards, Daniel Bryan probably would have been Superstar of the Year if he had not gotten injured.
Because, this was supposed to be his year, and then at the end of this year, they're supposed to sway sort of away from that, continue with Daniel Bryan, and bring in Roman Reigns for his next year. So I'm glad they're supposed to kind of keep Roman Reigns relevant this year as well, but they couldn't do that because of his injury, and
at least he was still able to beat Randy Orton, which put him over a lot.
Which is true. Daniel Bryan was probably the biggest injury so far because they still don't know if he needs another surgery, and he says he's healing properly, but he's trying to get more strength in his arm, which is taking a long time.
And with his style of wrestling, he could easily hurt himself even more by coming back early.
That'll be the end of his career, and that'd be too short of a career.
You don't want another Edge situation happening.
No, definitely not. And those actually played a huge part in the creative this year because they had all this shit ready to go for the whole year, and then those guys get injured, and they're all like, fuck, what are we going to do now?
And that was basically the rise of Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, and the rise, I'm guessing, of Brock Lesnar's title, or if you call that a fucking title reign. I guess we can get into that right now. Like, do you even call this a title reign? How do you win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and show up for what? How many pay-per-views? Since he's won it at SummerSlam, he's only showed up in 1 pay-per-view to defend it?
And he showed up the Raw after, that was it.
That was it. How the fuck are you a WWE champion and you show up twice in the last 6 months?
We, the WWE Universe, as they like to call us, the hardcore wrestling fans, deserve our champion to be around at least most of the time.
Even back then, when, let's say, like, let's think of a champion here, The Rock, okay? When he won at the Royal Rumble, from then to WrestleMania 29, he was still relevant. He still showed up. He missed a week or two, but he didn't really defend it. He defended the Elimination Chamber, but he was still around. Brock Lesnar showed up twice in the last 6 months. Didn't promote shit. It's his fucking manager that says everything.
Now let's get one thing straight. Brock Lesnar doesn't give a fuck about the fans.
No, he doesn't give a fuck fan. He doesn't give the prony. He just cares about what Vince puts in his fucking wallet. You know what? Now he gets to be the WWE champion.
And like he says, I'm a promoter. He literally came out in an interview and said, I'm a promoter of matches. That's it.
Yeah. And he comes back and he's like, "Hey, I want this, this, and this." He's like, "Oh yeah, we'll give it to you, Brock Lesnar."
That's another reason why CM Punk was pissed, and he has a right to be.
You're giving us fucking viewership numbers. Well, here you go. You can have the title. They even make a new title with the logo on it, and they give it to him, and no, that's it. Like, I don't understand. Brock Lesnar shouldn't be champion. It's stupid.
Phil, you want to add something here?
Well, I understand completely. It's because Vince McMahon sees money in Brock Lesnar, and he's just saying, look, you can carry the belt around, you don't have to show up, you only have to show up a certain number of times. That's just the way it is.
In a way, that's right, but this is what CM Punk was talking about in Cole Cabana's podcast, right? Vince McMahon sways away from what the fans want and what the product should be. He only cares about the fucking money, which shouldn't be like that. And he doesn't care about the wrestlers. He doesn't care about anyone but himself and money.
Either.
He's getting. I know he's getting old. He's getting to that age where he could be going senile, but You know,
But if the money's coming in, that means the fans are getting what they want.
And it sucks because he's just pissed that he's not a billionaire anymore. He's lost all that money. That's why they made all the fucking budget cuts. That's why you don't see custom pay-per-views anymore like we used to. It's all the same goddamn
Things
stage.
won't change until the fans themselves stop showing up, stop going to the events, stop tuning in. That's the only reason.
That's I know you can't stop fans from watching because we don't want we can't stop watching it because it's what we grew up loving. You can't just stop watching a product that you loved watching since you were a kid. You can't do it. As much as you want to, and as much as shit that they put out, you can't do it. No. But you cannot have Brock Lesnar as the champion unless you come at least to every. If he came to every pay-per-view, and it'd be one Raw in between each month. Sorry, and don't even have to wrestle. Just be there and like do like some in-ring promo. Just do that. At least you're showing up there, and we see you with the title belt. Don't show up there, and then they don't talk about him.
And as WWE says, they draw to the casual fans. That's who they try to draw to. And then half the casual fans probably don't even know that Brock Lesnar's a champion.
Yeah,
they probably don't even know we have a champion.
They don't even know that he used to be in WWE a long time ago and was the youngest WWE champion ever. I guarantee if you told them you said he was the undisputed title, they'd be like, "What the fuck is the undisputed title?" No, it shouldn't be Brock Lesnar. It should be someone else. I don't even care.
Well, there you go. The job is done. You guys are super pissed at Brock Lesnar, and that means if or when he loses the title, the payoff will be even better. Maybe that's the idea behind all of this.
No.
Everyone is extremely pissed at Brock Lesnar about all of this, and they can't wait to see him lose the title.
You have a good point, but I still think that WWE that is still doing it just because Brock Lesnar gets to do whatever the hell he wants.
They didn't even talk about the
that's because he brings in the money.
They didn't even talk about the title the last 3 months. They haven't talked. They talked about it once in the last year, and that's when Brock
Paul
Lesnar
Heyman shows up. Yeah. That's it.
Other than that, they never talk about the title. Never.
Well, we all know it exists. That's the thing.
I kind of forgotten it exists when I was watching Raw sometimes.
But that's what I'm saying. The casual fans is what they want, and they don't know. They don't even know we have a champion.
They forget about the true fan. You want to see true fans? I'm sorry. Well, I'll bring it back. Watch NXT. Listen to those guys. They are the real fans. I know it's in Florida all the time, but they're the real fans. But anyways, on to like interesting stuff. I guess a lot of released talent this year. This was a big year for released talent. They released a lot of superstars. I guess we've seen too. Justin Roberts. Insane. I mean, Justin Roberts was like their main like announcer. Like he was iconic.
Yep, and he grew up wanting. That was his dream job, was to be the WWE ring announcer.
Like he's like the Bruce Buffer of WWE. How do you just release him? Like I know there's shit we don't know because WWE likes to keep closed doors on that.
We heard there was something with Michael Cole, but that's not confirmed.
You know what it is? They didn't say anything to the fans. They didn't say they just wrote him off without saying shit to the fans. He was sick or. You know what? They didn't future endeavor his ass or anything. They just, continue on like it was another day in the office. There's Lillian Garcia showed up the next week and she just continued on. How do you do that to your best announcer? No offense to Lillian.
Well, she had kind of passed the torch on to him, and she had got the torch passed on from Howard Finkel.
Yeah, she's done her time. No offense to her, she's a great announcer. But how do you just release Justin Roberts like that? It's unfortunate because he's a great announcer.
There wasn't a more passionate guy for that job than him.
I hope they do rethink this and they re-sign him back in the future because he is one of the greats. He's another Howard Finkel. He's the next Howard Finkel. I'm sorry that you can't. I know it's hard to put people in his books, but he was the hardest. He was the next Howard Finkel. And other superstar, other released talent this year was just insane too. Alberto Del Rio, unreal man. He could have continued for another couple of years and then had a good Hall of Fame. CM Punk gone, right? Who else has been gone this year?
They released a lot of lower end guys. Basically, all of 3MB was released.
Yeah, that's insane. Currently, the situation with Heath Slater is hilarious. I mean, guy gets a freaking arrest warrant out there
from WrestleMania 27.
From WrestleMania 27, and it's funny they haven't mentioned Heath Slater at all after that. I never seen an article saying he got arrested. There's a mugshot somewhere. After they released that, I've never heard anything about Heath Slater.
It seems like Vince McMahon and WWE are hiding him somewhere.
Yeah, probably hiding him in the corporate building.
Yep.
They're repackaging Heath Slater to be corporate Slater.
Great.
He's gonna be a corporate Slater.
We finally saw the release of JTG.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I thought you said released talent. JTG is not released talent.
He
Well,
was. Hang on.
Crime Time was awesome.
Crime Time was talent. That
They buried Crime Time. They should have been tag team champions in 09.
I missed their whole stint or whatever.
They were good. They drew.
They entertained me. They were one of the reasons why I watch Raw. When I watch Raw, I'm like, hey, I know there's gonna be a Crime Time segment this week. What are they gonna do? I mean, they have endless highlights of their segment. They have the Lita wholesale. They have the JBL limo incident. They have the Deuce and Domino car incident. They have the Royal Rumble ticket sales. They have the selling the tickets to DX.
Selling fake crap to Ron Simmons and all those guys.
Like, they were
so
comedy
over with the
gold.
crowd, too.
They were so over. And like, when they had the chance for the WWE tag titles, they wanted to see the tag team champions to be the Crime Time. Like, and then it sucked because Chad kind of parted ways with WWE, and JGG became a singles wrestler. Started wearing tights, and he just got jobbed all the time, and they have no use for him, and he had a main event match here and there, and then they finally just said, you know what, there's no room for you, we're just going to release you, we got NXT people on the way. It sucks, they could have repackaged him again, brought back like the gangster JTG, but whatever.
But I was happy with some of the releases, like Sweet Tea, Brodus Clay, Great Khali, glad all of them are gone.
Finally. How is Great Khali talent? There you go, Phil. There is something you can say that I'll agree on. Khali was not talent.
Great Khali? No, he wasn't
That
talent.
was garbage.
So he's not released talent because he wasn't talent.
Okay, released
superstar. Superstar. Or wrestler. No, I don't know. Okay, he was
Oh wait, Sweet Tea is not even gone. He's with NXT now. He's an announcer.
Okay.
He
wasn't
Albers
released.
or something, I don't know.
Okay, but
Justin
Brodus Clay
Wright.
was released.
Bros, yeah. Oh my God! When they tried to go and make him heel, that worked out. Lasted what, 2 weeks?
The main event player.
Main event player.
But yeah, going back to the Alberto Del Rio thing, that was the big thing. Everyone knew he was basically going to leave after his contract was up. He basically was going to stay for this year's WrestleMania because it was in San Francisco, which has a big Mexican following there. So he was going to be a big draw for them. And then basically he was going to ride off into the sunset. He was already unhappy with the way they were treating him. He was basically demoted to a mid-card guy that was getting basically jobbed by the high-end talent. And then basically somebody said a racist comment to him, and he stood by his beliefs and basically just punched the guy out and got released for it. So I don't blame him at all. I mean, I miss him. He's my favorite wrestler. But, I mean, I support him for what he did because I'm glad he did that. Same with CM Punk.
Yep. I guess what we can talk about too here. It's this year during our break, I guess you call it, from NHBWR, we did experience a couple of things outside. We went to a live event, us three here,
In Hamilton,
we
Ontario.
went to in Hamilton, Ontario. It was a great live event actually. The second live event we've ever been to, and I'm gonna say both live events they held in Hamilton, unreal. It was like better than watching an episode of Raw.
Better than perfect.
It was better. It was better than perfect.
Speaking of better than perfect, Curtis Axel was there.
Yep, the second time we went, he was there. We're supporting that Better Than Perfect shirt. And I must add, both times we went, they have no security in that place. We both had horrendous seats the first time we went there first, and both moved to better
the same
seats.
spot.
The same spot every year, twice, which was on the side, a little bit up. Perfect view for everything. Anyways,
Can we talk about the main event?
the main event. And the second one was unreal. We had a Hamilton street fight, which was
Bray
unreal.
Wyatt and Roman Reigns.
That was probably the sickest match I've ever seen.
live, yeah.
And I loved how we seen it live. Like, that was insane. They put on such a good match with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins interfering as well. It was just...
Live events are awesome. They interact with the crowd. They do stuff they don't do on TV.
It is. It's great. It's a great product. And we also got to experience this year. We went to the WWE Raw in Buffalo this
I think
year.
it was November 3rd.
It was something like that. We were there, guys. We were literally there. You can even see us there if you want to. Look back.
See Kyle's sign.
You can see my sign bright and clear. But hashtag
when
bats.
Vinnie Mac comes out.
When Vinnie Mac comes out, oh
Ratings.
yeah, you can hear that. You see that yellow sign saying ratings? That's your boy right here, Kyle. Right here. Boy Brandon right here was holding the equal sign, but it was the camera caught him late and you couldn't see him. And Phil was there actually. You can see if you pause it, but Phil was in a blank stare. He was so surprised Vinnie Mac was coming out.
I think we were all. I think I was jumping
shocked.
up and down. Like
oh, we were
kid.
all shocked. That was insane. But we were there on Raw, and that was our first. Well, actually, it's our second Raw, but we
our
had
first in the television section.
first on the television side, and it was just unreal seats. that Raw ended up being pretty good. I mean, we got to see Vinnie Mac live. Like, what else?
And then our best moment was probably JBL pointing at us twice.
Yeah, when the commentators made their entrances out, we had our signs. JBL
we had a
equals,
team sign.
Team sign, JBL equals ratings. He pointed to us twice, once on the stage, once on the steps. I loved it.
Retweeted you.
He retweeted me on Twitter. That was just my highlight. But, again, both the live event and the Raw we went to, like, going to watch this live is insane.
It's such a different atmosphere. It makes you appreciate it so much more.
Yeah, it makes me more of a fan than I'm actually am.
That Randy Orton segment at the end where the Authority basically turned on was pretty sweet too.
Yep, that's true.
And then basically I want to add at the end, we basically stayed to like take pictures and that after. And the WWE crew, they have got to be some of the fastest people I've ever seen taking down. Like,
oh my god. Like, they're insane. Like, we were there, 15 minutes after taking pictures. But in the background, you can see, holy crap, they have at least like 50 people working. But they had half the stage taken apart within 15 minutes the show was done.
Before we were even gone.
Yeah, they had, like, the mats were rolled up around the ring. They're getting rid of, they untied all the ropes around the ring.
The Titantron was half gone.
Like, it was, they're to work for WWE and to work that fast is insane. Like, they do such a good
Props
job.
to those guys. Those guys are the real MVP.
They're the real MVP, or the real main event players.
Efficient
Right
and on
there.
point.
Yep.
So live events were awesome this year. We're obviously going to go to more in the future.
I got to see my first live title change, which I was happy about. It was the Raw Aftermath.
Oh, yeah.
Rusev beat Sheamus
It was on
for
the
US
network.
title.
If you guys have the network in the States, it was on the network.
After Raw ended, we had a title match.
We got to see that live. It was insane. We thought it was just going to be another squash match, but I can't believe Rusev
But the title
won.
was on the line, so what's going to happen?
And it was kind of foreshadowing if you were at the event because you saw them putting the Russian flag up above the ring.
That kind of spoiled it there a little bit. But anyways, it was actually a pretty good match, and we saw a title change live, which was all we were talking about on the way back to the car.
Awesome stuff.
Speaking of Rusev,
And my boy Rollins beat Randy Orton, which I was happy about because I'm not the biggest Orton fan. Huge Rollins fan, so that was good.
who is Randy?
And we haven't seen Orton since, so that makes me happy.
Yeah, you heard him. Worse than the Cinderblock, I guess. Anyways, speaking of Rusev, the situation that happened earlier in the year, I mean, it's not big now because the news are more concerned about ISIS situation, which is unfortunate. But what happened earlier in the year with the whole Rusev and the Russia thing was kind of controversial, I thought, because...
Basically just talking about Putin the whole time.
Yeah, and it's with the stuff that was going on in Russia with Putin, and it still kind of is in the news today.
Stuff right now about if anybody watches hockey, they know the KHL is in a bunch of trouble right now.
Wait, what happened?
A lot of teams are probably going to fold because the players are receiving basically half of what they were asked to get by the teams. The teams can't afford anything anymore because the Russian dollar is going down so much, and it's basically just a shit show going on in Russia right now.
Yeah, and it was kind of, I can't believe WWE kept doing that and showing that, and they must have got so much heat for that.
Especially with Lana's promos too, like basically trashing the USA so hard.
And like Rusev's just vulgar on the mic too. Like I remember when the Rock
Listen,
came
you
back,
American piece of garbage.
like that got so much heat over the crowd. Like I thought it was a little bit controversial to do that. I mean, it drawed in some viewership ratings, but I still think that's probably, if there was an award for most controversial moment of the year, this is Rusev.
I wouldn't put it on the
Russia.
same level as the Muhammad Hassan terrorist thing, but I mean, this is still like a big, like international debate right now.
I forgot there was even a Muhammad Hassan. Literally, remember when he got last right? Remember the last of him? He got last righted through the stage.
Good ending for him.
God,
but it was just a
good ending for him.
but a big like international like media circus going on right now in Russia.
Yeah.
So the whole thing with Rusev.
Wait, like right now or like throughout the year? Like
it's been throughout the year and it's still continuing right now.
It's getting worse now with the whole KHL news.
It's admittedly like no news is good news to me.
I mean,
so, like,
it's the news,
I don't
right?
read the news.
CNN's going to go with whatever is hot right now, and it's still going on. But you know what's hot right now is the ISIS situation, which is, again, it is unfortunate with that, and it's scary to think about all the stuff that's going on over there. And I hope they resolve it soon. But other than that, that's a pretty risque situation if you put it. But this year in WWE's been a pretty, you know what, it's better than it has been in the last couple of years. I'll have to admit. I mean, I'm glad we're through the 2011 to 2012 era, which was pretty bad. I mean, yeah, our I mean, if we had to pick anything like highlighted this year, was I all I could think of was the streak ending. I mean,
you can go back to now our reaction, Kyle's reaction to that.
Like, I couldn't believe
There was
what we
about
were
7
watching.
of us, and we're not all usually stunned at the same time. Usually we know what's coming. Literally all 7 of us were just jaws
Stopped.
dropped.
Everyone stopped. You can watch reaction videos on YouTube. People are going crazy. We all stopped what we were doing and had to pause for a second. And we didn't think it was real because we thought maybe the ref miscounted and they were going to continue. But after a while, when like they put the 21-1 logo on the Titantron, I was like, I dropped that. I couldn't move because who would have thought the streak was going to end? No one could have predicted that. Everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, it's just going to be Brock Lesnar beating the shit out of Undertaker, and then at the end he's going to give him a tombstone. That'll be the end. He'll be 22-0. He'll move on, and then, could be retired next year and retire. Like, everyone thought Undertaker was going to retire with that streak, but holy fuck, I think that was probably the biggest moment of the year. I know there's a lot of shit that happened this year in WWE
But I mean, that's like a century worth
of shit. Like,
yeah.
Undertaker's been along for like before I was born doing shit like this, and
just think of all the guys he's beaten.
Everyone, like all the legends he's beaten, to get to that 21-0 when it was 21-0, and you lose to Brock again. This shit with Brock Lesnar. You lost to fucking Brock Lesnar. Really? They gave him the fucking streak.
I would have respected it more if he would have lost to some up-and-coming guy that they expect to be a top guy for the next 5-10 years. That would have been better.
But to Brock Lesnar, who's just there for the fucking money.
Even Lesnar's first run I could have seen, but not the second run he's having.
I mean, I did respect Lesnar a bit because I found out he did not want to end the streak. It was more a war between Vince and Undertaker about how to end the streak and if they wanted it or not.
I don't know why the hell that ended. Why the hell does it have to end?
It doesn't need to end. He could have retired with the streak and been the only superstar, and it should have been in WWE history to not lose at WrestleMania.
Rob Van Dam for the win.
And you'd have
Fandango 1-0.
I'm just saying you would have had retired, and if you didn't have a match this year or did, you could have retired with 22 or 23-0, and that just, I mean, he's gonna retire soon, Undertaker, and he's gonna have a sick record. He's only lost once at WrestleMania, which is unreal. And just to look, even if you don't count the record, look back at who he's beaten and who he's beaten for. Like his matches with Triple H and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania were freaking insane. One of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time, and it's still in that top 5, is Shawn Michaels against Undertaker at WrestleMania 25.
WWE themselves, I'm pretty sure they're willing to, for a long time, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, Iron Man match was like their favorite match, but I think now it's Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker.
Yeah, WrestleMania 25.
Yeah, WrestleMania 25.
I still agree. That's one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time out of any WrestleMania out there. You can even put that up against The Rock against Hulk Hogan at 18, or The Rock versus John Cena once in a lifetime. Again, Triple H.
But those were money matches, but they weren't like good matches. Yeah, that's the thing.
The wrestling product.
Shawn Michaels Undertaker was an actual good match.
Shawn Michaels Bret Hart.
Shawn Michaels Bret Hart. That was a good match. Well, I'm not a fan of that match actually. The Iron Man match.
I mean, I would put it. I put it in my top 5 for sure. It would be up there. That match will always go down as one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. But the number 1 so far is that match. I mean, of all the good matches of WrestleMania, that match has to be number 1. You keep rewatching that match. The kickouts. There's the one moment that sticks out from that match is everyone's gonna think about it is when he caught Shawn Michaels on the ropes like that. And then he brought him back for a tombstone. And he lined it up so perfect in the middle of the ring, like he always does. When Taker lines up that tombstone in the middle of the ring like that, the match is over. And then at that point, it was 22 minutes into the match. Everyone's like, "Okay, yeah, this match is definitely going on too long. It's over." He kicked out. Like I think Taker kicked out of 3 super kicks that match. I mean, you know what? If I could pick another moment besides that could top that or equal to that, if you remember, it was 2 WrestleManias ago. Hell in a Cell match. Shawn Michaels super kick Undertaker into the pedigree. And everyone thought that was it. I thought that was it. The whole crowd thought that was it. It was like, holy shit, they're going to end it this way. They're going to screw the Undertaker or Shawn Michaels is going to do something. he fucking kicked out.
Basically,
And holy shit.
two OG finishers that nobody kicks out of either one of them, let alone both.
And that was late. That was 20 minutes into the match where everyone thought, yeah, that's it. It's over. Like, it's done. When W puts on matches like that, when it leaves you on the edge of your seat, you leave for a good product.
Going on to another highlight of this year was, I think, the Seth Rollins heel turn was just out of nowhere. I don't think anybody expected that.
I think I expected Dean Ambrose. I thought he was the oddball. It was going to be Ambrose to do it because, sorry, just because of how, like, you know, his lunatic side, right?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be the crazy one to go lunatic and go heel.
And just the timing of it, like, Batista had just quit Evolution that night.
Plan B.
But I mean, it just didn't. It was just shocking because they had just had two unbelievable matches. And they beat the hell out of Seth Rollins, and for him to just turn on it was just unexpected. And I don't think anybody saw that. Was probably the second biggest jaw dropping moment of the year.
Yeah, like I was really sad to see the Shield go. I thought they were going to last much longer than that because they did. It did seem like they were breaking up, but then they just got stronger. Beat Evolution 2 pay-per-views in a row, and then they break up the night after. I really did not see that coming.
Nope.
I'm loving the aftermath though. Like I thought I was gonna hate it, but it's really good.
Oh man, so far when the Shield is broken up,
they have carried the roster.
They've been the stepping stone, and like next to John Cena, they've been the stepping stone for the WWE. And the shit they've pulled out from them splitting is insane. Because I thought they're gonna come back together eventually soon, but you know what? They're good singles. I maybe bring the Shield back once in a while, like one time down the road as like a DX reunion thing. Have like a Shield reunion thing when it's like this all blows over, but right now they're good at singles.
Ambrose main evented 2 pay-per-views this year, and Cena was not in either one of those pay-per-views.
He was considered to be the weak link. And you look at a lot of good tag teams and stables. Usually there's one guy that usually goes on to stardom, and then the other 2 or 3 guys they just phase out. We can look at Marty Jannetty with Shawn Michaels. Much as I love him, Ted DiBiase with Cody Rhodes. Ted DiBiase just kind of flattened out. Cody Rhodes went on to become a great IC champion.
Yeah, but within the Shield, you have got 3 bona fide superstars.
I mean, it's insane what you do when you build, or when WWE does, when they build a tag team, and what happens after they split up. It leaves you wondering what's gonna happen. Like, are they gonna drop and be released from WWE, or are they gonna go on to bigger and better things? Which, as we saw with the Shield, it's led to the greatest split up of all time.
Can you imagine if the Shield didn't work out, like everybody splitting off? Imagine how bad it would have been this year with all the injuries.
It would be pretty bad. I'm guessing the product would be even blander.
Yeah, if Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins weren't able to carry the weight.
And I guess you could add to that, I guess. I mean, as great as that sounds, and as great as I talked about earlier, if you put a highlight of the year, NXT has grown so much over this last year that it's become more relevant. And it's become a better product. Ever since the network came out, it's become a way better product than what it used to be. I remember back when NXT first came out, I remember it was on TV regularly. It was during that whole like superstar surge. They had like their superstar captains like leading the way. How Daniel Bryan started.
Yep.
Like
that was his.
That NXT, you know what? That was too. It was too like.
It started off really, really good, but then in the later seasons it got pretty crappy.
Yeah. Okay. I remember season 1 was pretty good, and then NXT was basically the product made from Tough Enough. Tough Enough became NXT, and from then on, it's grown into like this amazing part. Now, like NXT is, my opinion, is the best thing going on TV right now. I mean, it's not on TV, but it's on the network.
Somebody is finally listening at WWE. I don't know if it's Triple H or something, but like WWE, they used to be about building their own guys, right? Yeah. Homegrown talent. But now they're finally listening to the internet fans a little, and they're like going around the world to all the promotions.
Yeah, they're going out to all to see the top indie guys of what everyone's talking about.
So now you got
signing them, get them to this fucking company, put them on NXT, and look what they done. They got Prince Devitt. That's huge. When they got Prince Devitt and Kenta this year, those were the biggest signings ever.
Kevin Steen.
Ever WWE could have ever done. Like, and Kevin Steen. Kevin Steen, like, rocked ROH all his fucking life. And Kenta and Prince Devitt, like, destroyed New Japan Pro Wrestling. They were insane over there. Like, if you don't believe, just go look at their matches back then. Like, they're insane over there, and they carried that product to NXT, and I'm glad they kept their same style of wrestling. That's what I love WWE from doing. I thought they're going to bring, for some reason, I thought that when they brought them to NXT, I was like, you know what? They're going to change everything. They're going to give them different finishing moves. They're going to give them a whole new roster set, and it's just going to be like crap.
You know, we were hoping that they would transition it to the main roster, but maybe that's their plan. Maybe because if it became too much like Raw and SmackDown, then what's the point of turning it into NXT? It's the same thing. Mm-hmm. So maybe they do want to kind of have it different than the main roster. But the main roster still has to have better wrestling in it. The only time you ever get really good wrestling matches is like a main event of a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And not even anymore. Like this year, like I couldn't even think of anything for memorable or good matches.
I think Dolph Ziggler tried his hardest to put on really good matches.
Oh yeah, Dolph Ziggler
just
puts
like
in work.
the most recent match at TLC with Luke Harper was a very good match. Mm-hmm. That was probably the match of the night on that card.
Strangely enough, the opening match of pay-per-views always seems to be the best one.
Yeah,
this is true.
Yeah, indie guys putting in work, passionate guys who like know how to wrestle and like they actually know what they're doing.
It's what whoever's doing this NXT stuff, whether it's the same people as the Raw and SmackDown people, they're again, as what you said, they're listening to the fans. I've read reviews from people that actually gone to an NXT event. They said it has that independent atmosphere.
Yeah,
smaller venue. It's what they want, and it's the wrestling they want to see in WWE because the independent circuits don't get that TV time that WWE does, and the viewership, the viewership ratings can go through the roof if they brought that product up to Raw and SmackDown. That you can still have your storylines, you can still have your promos, you can still do all your backstage work, but the product itself, when the bell rings, bring that style to WWE, Raw and SmackDown, you have double your viewership ratings. I'll guarantee that.
Speaking of corporate stuff, do you want to move in and talk lastly about the Authority?
Yes, we'll go to the last topic, the Authority. I don't know. I thought I was going to be happy for them leaving and being over with, but you know what?
Now it's like, they better not bring this anonymous computer back as a full-time thing. That would just be the worst thing that they could ever do.
Now they've turned back to the hosting, right? The garbage hosting they used to do when they ran out of people to host the show. They were just running out of people. They just get shitty people that no one gives a shit about. Like the actors who played the Three Stooges. They weren't the original Three Stooges. They were the actors that played the current, like the newer version. And that was just garbage.
And now Larry the Cable Guy, Grumpy Cat, like just a bunch of garbage.
They have to stop this.
Oh yeah, 2009 was like the year I started watching again, like hardcore, and like that was probably the worst year.
Horrible.
Yeah,
since then.
You started watching back at a horrible time.
Yeah.
That was like...
Like, I started watching, and it was like WrestleMania, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. I was like, that was really awesome. And then, we're going to start guest hosts. Terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't
Terrible.
PG. It wasn't even the PG era. It was the G era. It was just garbage. Yeah. G for garbage. Not for general audience. For fucking
in the
garbage.
words of The Rock, hot garbage.
But yeah, the Authority,
HG.
like... I didn't think they were ever going to be, like, out of power. For sure, I thought this was going to ride to WrestleMania.
I hated the Authority, which means they were doing their job.
Yeah.
If I hated them... And yeah, Triple H, it looks like he was right. He said, you're going to wish we're going to be back.
Yeah,
and only John Cena has the power to bring him back.
It wasn't even, when we say hate, it wasn't a hate thing like you don't want to see him on TV anymore. No, it's a hate thing like, it's just like, they're playing the heels. You hate the hate.
They're playing it well. They're playing their character well.
You want to see them get the shit kicked out of
them.
them.
And the whole J&J security and corporate / concessions cane.
Oh man, like all that stuff was just, it's something you tune in every week to see because you want to know what they're going to do next. Or what person they're going to bury and what's going to happen. Like, is someone going to come up and overcome it? And like, because they overcome it now, it's like, maybe they should have waited till WrestleMania for this to happen. Because now it's like, you're almost on the road to WrestleMania, and this is the worst time to get your product bland because you want it to get boosted right now. And you want people to keep watching it right now because you want them, that road to WrestleMania is crucial. Because that's when all the good shit happens. It's from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania. And it's interesting to see enough because I don't know if anyone's heard yet. Phil, I don't know if you've heard yet. I'm sure Brandon has, but there's no Elimination Chamber pay-per-view anymore.
Oh, it's Fastlane now.
It's called WWE Fastlane, which...
sounds like Over the Limit 2.0.
Yeah, we don't even know what the hell... We don't even know if they're going to have an Elimination Chamber match at this pay-per-view. They have not announced anything. It's nothing on Wikipedia. It's just... The name of the pay-per-view now is called WWE Fastlane, which
That's good, because if you have an Elimination Chamber match set every year at the same time, it means you got to force 6 guys who probably have nothing to do with each other fighting in a match. An Elimination Chamber should be reserved for something more special.
This is true. This is why they should bring back, I think they should bring back...
No Way Out.
No Way Out. There you go. Have the Hell in a Cell match as the main event. And
Hell in a Cell between two guys.
yeah, there you go. You don't have to put 6 guys in there.
Maybe have an Elimination Chamber in the summer months. Give people something to tune into that.
Remember what it used to be? It was that Survivor Series. They had one match for one title. Or you can bring it to SummerSlam. You like have it at a certain pay-per-view, but you know what?
It has to make sense.
You know what they need to do right now, and I hope they're doing it right now, is just kind of don't talk about the Elimination Chamber from now for a bit. And bring it back later on in 2015 or early 2016 and have it be like a surprise.
Yeah.
And that will get the crowd more into it.
I miss that when they'd be like, this superstar, this superstar, this superstar, like Elimination Chamber.
Like
I miss that excitement
holy
and
shit,
surprise
like
element.
there's going to be a fucking chamber match.
For like since 09, it's been like,
oh yeah, it's like, oh yeah, it's going to be fucking...
It's better when it's not expected.
And then you've got guys like Morella and like Ted DiBiase in Elimination Chamber matches. I'm sorry, you're a fan of that, but I mean, like, those guys, they don't belong in the chamber match. Although people were really excited about Morella and Daniel
And
Bryan being
Santino was
two.
the last guy that almost won it.
Yeah.
That was exciting.
But I'm just saying, some guys are in chamber matches that shouldn't have been.
But this last...
Morella, maybe he deserved it because he's really popular.
This name for Fastlane, though, I'm kind of skeptical. I'm like, did they really think of that? They didn't really put too much thought in it. You know why? Remember John Cena's our iPad/iPhone game?
Yeah, Fastlane.
It's called Fastlane. When you type in WWE Fastlane on Google Images, that's all you're getting is pictures of John Cena's video game. So they weren't really creative in thinking of that name, and they could have thought of a better name than Fastlane, or bring back an old name from a previous pay-per-view you used to have. There's a giant list of previous pay-per-views.
Of good names.
Fastlane of good names. Backlash, Judgment Day, No Way Out, Unforgiven, Armageddon, Taboo Tuesday, Cyber Sunday, Bad Blood. You have all these pay-per-view names that you still have the rights to. They're not owned by any other company. You can still use them.
And I think the hardcore fans would love to see some of those pay-per-views. Just the nostalgia of having one of those
No Way Out.
Like
Bring back No Way Out.
Vengeance, both No Way Out and Vengeance have made a comeback in recent years, right?
Bring back No Way Out as the February pay-per-view from now on. Stop with this Fastlane crap. You know what? I don't mind Extreme Rules. Payback, yeah, I've learned to deal with that.
Battleground's pretty cool.
Battleground's pretty sick, but they don't really have a theme for that.
Fastlane starts like a racing event. And I know they're thinking, Road to WrestleMania, Fastlane, but I don't like it.
We're thinking of, though, like Battleground. They have to. I know they have a theme for Extreme Rules because it's all hardcore matches. Payback is payback matches from either Extreme Rules or WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Right. That's right after those two pay-per-views. Battleground. You have to have a theme set for this thing. This pay-per-view.
I know Phil used to talk about it a lot.
The War Games match.
The War Games match.
That's a WCW thing. Like I'd really like it, but I don't think
it's tough to do
McMahon
nowadays.
wants to do it.
It's tough to do nowadays.
Yeah, like we said, only the Tampa Bay Times Forum can do it for some reason.
Yeah.
Plus, you need two. You need 2 rings, and that means less seats.
But yeah, Battleground just has to have a theme.
It's like a war. You think war when you hear Battleground, right?
Yeah.
But you can't really do a war type match because that's Survivor Series. Yeah. So
Maybe you just don't need themes. They need good booking, which it's hard to do.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're gonna keep a theme behind Battleground, scrap it. Because scrap Battleground, bring back another pay-per-view because they're running away with Battleground right now. Because they don't even know where to place it. This year was in July. The year before that
in October. I went.
It was in October. What are you doing? Like, they better figure that shit out. I mean, I'll keep TLC. I like it where it is. December. The TLC matches and the table matches, the ladder matches, the chair matches, whatever. That's great. SummerSlam is its own thing again. Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, I don't like it. They got to get rid of that too.
Especially because not all the matches are anything.
If you have a pay-per-view and it's named after a match, that's where you have every match in that.
Not one or maybe 2.
Every match in that pay-per-view under that theme. This scrap Hell in a Cell, bring back Vengeance. There you go. Set Vengeance that time every year. Have it like, okay, when's Hell in a Cell? You have it right after Night of Champions, right?
Yeah.
October
usually.
October. What do you think? Unforgiven. You have Vengeance out there. You have No Mercy.
Bad Blood.
Bad Blood
near Halloween. Yeah,
you got Bad Blood from a champion retaining at Night of Champions or a champion winning that title at Night of Champions. You have Bad Blood between that, and that could carry on into Survivor Series somehow. Just the theme pay-per-view match, the theme pay-per-views they have, they need to figure it out. I mean, I hope Fastlane ends up being good. I hope it's not garbage. It's a go-home pay-per-view for WrestleMania. And I'm really hoping because so far, last year, at this time, we knew what WrestleMania 30 was going to be all about. we knew like what was gonna go down. Like we had a feeling.
I was afraid that they were actually going to give it to Batista. Actually, I had no clue. Actually, the WrestleMania before that, everybody knew it was going to be Rock.
But we knew at this
twice in a lifetime.
we knew that, and we knew. But we knew this time last year that Daniel Bryan was in somewhat going to be in the title picture.
No, I thought they were going to...
No, he was feuding with the Authority, and the Authority was behind the title. There's no way in hell you could...
And he was just completely getting bagged by them about 4 pay-per-views in a row.
It took a while for me to believe that because they tried to shove down Daniel Bryan versus Triple H in our throats, but then Daniel Bryan was like, wait, people don't want to see that. Only that. They want to see me win the title. Then I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, that's what we're going to see.
And then CM Punk didn't want to face Triple H at WrestleMania.
But even then, you knew like what kind of... You had a picture in your mind of what WrestleMania was going to look like. Now, I do not know what 31 is going to look like.
I just don't think they have
There's only one...
Reigns.
Okay, Roman Reigns is the only thing.
And Brock Lesnar.
Okay, who's Brock Lesnar going to fight?
Roman Reigns.
For the title, right?
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
Make him
What
look
else?
strong.
But it's just
is that going to be your main event?
That's what I'm saying right now, yeah.
But I don't think creative has their shit together. Because if you heard about the Undertaker thing, they didn't decide till like the day of that the streak was ending. So clearly their planning was terrible and they just did not have their shit together.
So far, if anyone's read spoilers, what they're looking at right now is to have Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker, which I think could be a good feud.
Oh yeah,
that could be an amazing feud, and it could be an amazing match. It all comes down to Undertaker. Like his health, it's from WrestleMania from that Hell in the Cell match till now. His health is diminishing every fucking year. It's getting worse and worse and worse.
He should just retire.
I think the only person that won't kill him in a match is Sting. I think those
they
two
could
guys...
have there's that match, Sting versus Undertaker. They don't even know where to put Sting right now.
Yep.
It's either they make him face The Undertaker or they have him face Triple H.
Wait, is there a chance that Sting might not even show up?
No,
Vince
he
McMahon's
will.
like, I'm not surprised.
Sting's wrestling one match. There's also the talk of Hulk Hogan's training his fucking ass off right now to do one match. He wants, I guess, they had an interview with him the other day. He wants a last title run.
Oh my god, yeah, no.
Intercontinental title, sure.
And
no, they're gonna give him. They're giving them the world title. They're gonna have him.
No.
They're gonna have him.
Wait, he has to win it.
No, but he said he wants it to be a retirement match. He wants to win the title, but he wants to retire with it.
Oh.
So that means
I guess he is the biggest icon, as they say, of all time. And I mean,
I'd love to see another Hulk Hogan match.
Also, you've heard rumors
That'd be pretty
about...
good.
Hey, if he can be medically cleared, then more power to him. But please, not in the title picture.
They've talked about Bill Goldberg wants to have one more match for his son. He wants his son to see him wrestle one time, live.
But they have a lot of weeks now until Royal Rumble. So I hope we can kind of see what WrestleMania 31 is gonna kind of look like, or we have an idea. Like so far, we only have Roman Reigns.
We need to have a direction. We need to have a GM and people running the show.
Exactly, that's what I mean. If they could continue to do this GM crap even after the Royal Rumble, what the fuck is gonna go down? Like I bet you creatives are scratching their heads until like they're bleeding because they don't know what the hell to put out there right now.
Like who do you bring back? Johnny Ace?
No, they could. I mean, people were kind of cheering at the Slammy Awards when he came out.
I support people power, but that's beside the fact.
But anyways, I hope Fastlane ends up being good. I hope WrestleMania 31 ends up being good. I mean, there's going to be at Levi Stadium. There's going to be a huge fucking crowd there. Let's hope the weather supports it because there's no dome to cover the rain. Let's hope it ends up being a great pay-per-view.
I just hope they're smart with everything they do from here on out because they could really make a difference here.
Yeah. Other than that, guys, that's a great... I think this was a pretty good podcast. We will be back sometime. I can't really promise you guys when the next podcast will be, but when more news comes into WWE, you know what?
Yeah.
Be sure to come back and check our channel. We'll update you guys on Twitter.
We apologize for being Brock Lesnar and not being here for 4 months.
We do apologize. Well, we're kind of hypocrites right now. We are being Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
The last time I think we shot an episode was Battleground, which was back in the summer. But you know what? Due to our schedules, it's too hard to do Raw and Smackdown reviews every week.
We were kind of getting burnt out of the same crap, so we're kind of repackaging ourselves.
Exactly. We were talking about the same crap every week. It's like, why would we want to give you guys episodes of the same crap every week and like these little shows in between? Because, again, it's like watching a 3-hour Raw. We're trying to fill these gaps. Yeah. But you know what? Since podcasts are the hit thing to do nowadays, we're just going to give you podcasts. So... continue to come on here on SoundCloud because this is where I'm going to post the podcast, is on SoundCloud. I'll put the link on Twitter. I'll put a YouTube video out there for people to watch on YouTube. I'll put all the social media and anything you want to follow us on down here in the description. Leave us a comment on what your thoughts are. What do you think we should do? Anything we should do on the podcast? But other than that, guys, I'm your host, Kyle. I got my co-host, Brandon, with me.
Peace.
We got no self-fill, as always.
See ya.
Our favorite co-host.
Yeah.
And that's it, guys. NHBWR is out.